Oh, there we are. There we are. No sound. We're back now. What I was saying happy holidays. I was saying happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, happy Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate. Welcome in. We are back into the charts. So we are here. We are here. We are back. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. We have a lot to go over this morning. It is Friday. We are finishing off the week. Who won the giveaway? I have not selected the giveaway winners yet. I know it's terrible. I know it's bad. I have not done it yet. It takes me time. It takes me a good half an hour to do it. So you have to let me. It needs to be done. I have not done it yet. I will announce it soon. I will announce it this weekend. I apologize. I got caught up in all the holiday festivities, and it was very difficult to do that, despite everything. So I will get it taken care of this weekend, though. I actually take time to pick the winners. I mean, not obviously not really. I have to copy and paste everything and put it into Excel, and it'll take me at least 20 minutes, right? So I did not pick the winners yet, but they will be selected soon. Check my story on the weekend, and then what I'll do is I'll extend it. So I'll announce it over the weekend on my story, and I also will announce it on Monday during our pre-market webinar. So you have plenty of time to accept your prize. So do not worry, okay? It's all scam, guys. It's all scam. That in summation, it's all scam. You got bamboozled. All right, so today's session, we're going to talk about the market, obviously, right? We'll go over econ data, earnings reports. We'll talk about next week as well, because obviously this is the big thing, right? We'll go over what's happening next week. We are going to discuss our charts as well. Obviously, the big thing today is going to be SPY. All eyes on one particular level this morning. One particular level that I am watching more than anything this session is going to be the 692 level and change here, which is really ES 6000. And we're going to recorrelate this. We're going to recalibrate our ES chart this morning. But we have a very critical level in front of us at ES 7000. And this is the centerpiece of today's discussion. Okay, so welcome in. I hope you guys are all ready to dive into today's session. Now, yes, it's true. Today is going to be a very goofy session, right? This is not, in fact, I didn't expect many people to show up this morning for our pre-market. I expected probably about half the normal people to come in today because, again, this is a day where things are probably a bit light, right? It's not going to be a very active session. Most traders at the professional institution level are not trading today, right? And that's going to mean probably low liquidity, right? You have traders that are off since probably Tuesday this week, since Tuesday, Wednesday this week, they've been off, and they will continue to have off until Monday of next week. So just keep that in mind going into today's session. But here's the thing: I made this apparent on our session that it was Christmas Eve, right? This was on our Wednesday session. Even just understanding what's happening in the market and getting a view of the levels keeps you conscious of what's happening in the market. And if you're conscious of what's happening in the market, then you are ready to trade when the market does give you those exciting moves, which could be Monday. It could also be today, right? So we are going to talk about today's session as if we are trading, because we probably will be trading today, right? If we see a setup, I will take it. That's my mindset today, right? This is not Christmas Eve anymore, right? We're back into normal trading sessions. Yes, it may be low liquidity, but we are going to talk about today's session as if we are ready in full force into taking setups. And one of the biggest setups I'm watching today is going to be how does a market respond to this massive leg of supply, right? This massive leg of supply here at 7,000 ES, which is a very big level of resistance. 7,000 ES to 710 ES is going to be very big here on the market. Okay, so we're going to dive into this as well. We'll go over what's happening here on the SPY chart. We're going to recalibrate us on SPY and make sure our levels are precise or pinpoint on SPY going into our Friday and Monday session. We're going to talk about the Amazonians, right? Amazon, Scamazon, right? We had a really good trade on this on Tuesday's session. It did nothing on Wednesday before Christmas Eve, right before Christmas. It didn't do anything, right? It kind of lackluster moves here on Wednesday session. But today, we are above a level pre-market, and we are going to talk about a potential setup today here on Amazon's chart. We'll go over the Appler, right? Apple is a little bit lackluster, right? It broke 273 on Wednesday session. Big upside move, exciting upside move. and then back into supply, and then right back down lower, right? So what's happening here on the Apple chart? We are going to discuss Apple, and we're going to discuss the QQQ because Qs are actually stronger this morning, which I think is very interesting, right? QQQ, the name that has been very weak recently, tech, the name that has been very weak, is now moving a bit stronger than SPY. And for that, we have to pose the question is there a potential catch-up play on tech going into the year end? And that's going to be a very interesting concept, right? Is there a catch-up play on the tech sector going into year end? This is not so important today, guys. On Friday, just to be transparent, we're not talking about 10 trades today on tech, right? But we're talking about maybe a little bit of today, maybe a little bit of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week, right before year end. Things might become a bit interesting going into year end on the tech side. And that is where I'm going to be looking for my setups, right? Looking on tech to see, hey, is there any potential catch-up plays on tech? Looking for maybe the oversold names, right? The oversold names that are a bit weaker. Do they begin to start catching bids going into a year end? Very interesting concept. And it does tend to happen, right? You see a little end of year rebalancing. Very interesting. So let's watch some of those weaker names, maybe even weaker names for long side trades, right? Like Apple. Apple was actually a name that you would never want to long on Wednesday session, but actually turned into one of the strongest names, one of the strongest, most exciting names here. So let's talk about Apple. We'll go over this chart. We'll go over tech. We'll go over tech in general. We'll go over Nvidia. Nvidia also strong as well. We'll go over AMD. AMD a bit weaker, but again, is there a potential catch-up play on these tech side names? Okay, so we're going to dive into it, guys. Before I do it, I want to talk about one thing. Again, I know I'm repeating myself, but for the people that are just joining in, the giveaway has not happened yet. I know, I'm terrible. I'm sorry. I'm just a trader, right? I'm just a trader. The giveaway has not happened yet. It will happen soon. I promise you it will happen. It will happen this weekend. I was supposed to do it on Thursday. Then I was supposed to do it on Friday. It did not happen Thursday and Friday. Wednesday and Thursday. But it's going to happen today. I can promise you this. And I will announce all of the giveaway winners, right? We're not bamboozling you. Do not worry. You guys will have the winners selected this weekend. And on Monday morning, you will know. Even this weekend, you may know, right? If you look at my story this weekend, beautiful. If you don't have Instagram, don't worry. On Monday, I will talk about it pre-market. I'll show you all the winners, right? And then you can reach out to me, and then we'll pay you guys out, okay? So no one's getting bamboozled. Let's dive into today's session, okay? On the Econ data for this morning, it is nothing, right? We have nothing really to discuss here in terms of Econ data. And on the earnings docket, you can see here that over the course of the next 2 weeks, it is also nothing, right? From the 22nd to the 26th, which is today, there is nothing to report. From the 29th to the 2nd of January, there's nothing to report. But what's interesting is going into, and this is part of the reason why I'm here today. Part of the reason why I'm here today, guys, is we are here to discuss what's happening next week, right? Next week and over the course of the next 2 weeks. The first 2 weeks of the year are some of the most important parts of the year because we are going to be building our cushion for the trading session, right? The whole trading year, my cushion is built in the first few weeks of the year, right? I'm building my first 5 or 10K cushion, right? Just to get a little bit of value on the year. And if you see this, the first 2 weeks of this year are going to be centered around our earnings reports, right? Particularly our bank earnings, right? So you have the start of our earnings season on the 7th of January, which is really interesting. And then it continues into the 14th and 15th. And then it's not showing it right now, but starting on the week of the 22nd, that whole week, right? Between the 19th and the 22nd, it is your Netflix earnings, your big earnings events, your big tech earnings are reporting that third week of January, right? So we have a very quick start to the year, and I'm excited to see how we perform, okay? First week, obviously, this week is nothing. Second week, obviously, this week, the next week is nothing happening, right? But I did want to discuss that idea, right? You have earnings kicking into the start of the year pretty quickly, okay? In terms of econ data, I also want to talk about this for a second. I want to go into next week. So next week starts on the 29th. So let's look at that. Monday, the 29th is right over here. Pending home sales. We have some more small data here. FOMC minutes on 2 p.m. on Tuesday. Jobless claims on the 31st on New Year's Eve. And then on January 1st, we have a full market closure, full market closure on New Year's Day. Therefore, no trading. Okay. On Friday, nothing scheduled. We have a normal trading session. And then that is it, is January 2nd. We are in 2026 and we're locked in. Okay. So it's going to be a very interesting year, guys. And I'm excited to have you guys all on the docket with us. Okay. So let's go to our trading view charts, guys. Again, I'm going to have to repeat myself probably like 10 times this session. The giveaway happens tomorrow. I apologize. Happens tomorrow. Okay. I know there's gonna be people coming in at the ninth hour this morning, looking for, where's my $100? Where's my $100? It's coming. Okay. Don't worry. On the SPY chart, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Here on the SPY chart, we are back in supply, right? And if you notice what happened we did our pre-market on what day? Was it on Wednesday session? And our discussion on our pre-market Wednesday session was that we were trading back into a leg of supply, right? We're trading back into a zone of supply, and this whole zone is an area I wouldn't want to be long into. And it is still the right answer, right? Even though we technically broke supply and just rallied into it, I didn't want to be long here. And even if I was trading that Wednesday session, it wasn't an area I would long into transparently, right? Is it an area I would have shorted? Probably not either, right? There was no signs of rejection all day. Look at the market. There is even not even one red candle looked weak on our Wednesday session. This is the important part about trading is levels are one thing, right? Levels are half the battle. Probably 70% of the battle are your levels, right? And then the other 30% or however percentage you want to say, right? That other 30% or 40% or 50%, whatever it is going to be watching the intraday price action and saying, hey, is that a short? Is that a long? And if you look at the market, in the first leg of supply, you can see even the red candles look bullish, right? I mean, that tells you something. Even the red candles got these beautiful pin bars on. Even every single red candle has a beautiful pin bar down below, buying it right back up. So you knew that on Wednesday session, even though it wasn't a session you could really long, it also wasn't a session you could short, right? Now, obviously, if you just long the open and use EMAs, by the way, if you guys recall in the pre-market, we spoke about just using EMAs on that session. That was the right move, right? On low liquidity days, you tend to get moves like this, right? Moves that just slingshot you higher. And the best way to combat low liquidity days is EMAs, right? It's the most effective system. Just throw on EMAs and follow trend on low liquidity days because you are not going to be getting those beautiful mean reversion trades. And so on Wednesday session, you saw a pretty aggressive trend up higher into our supply, into the dune zone. I'll call this the dune zone, right? Now, here is where we're at this morning. We are back close to the tippy top of our supply zone. The tippy top of our supply zone is around 691.30 here on SPY. But if you correlate this to the ES chart, it's a bit different, right? It's a bit different here on the ES chart. On the ES chart, it's 7,000 ES. And if you notice that, it's around the consolidation over here, right? The consolidation over here between Wednesday, the 28th, and Tuesday, the 28th, and Wednesday, the 29th, right? This whole zone over here is our ES 7,000 psychological level supply. And we are talking about 691 on SPY, which is that high from here. See the high from here from Thursday, the 11th of December, right? Go back to SPY chart. Where's Thursday, the 11th of December? It's right over here, right? So this supply here, this Thursday, the 11th of December supply is 691 on SPY. And on ES chart, it is technically right here. It's where we're at right now. We're at supply right now, which makes sense. But the level that we're talking about in the ES's chart is not this 691 supply. It's actually a bit further up, obviously, right? It's a bit further up. It's back over here from October. So again, back to SPY. We're recalibrating our charts right now. So we're going back and forth, flipping back and forth here. But if you notice this for a second, the high from Wednesday the 29th of October is all the way here at 689. And your question probably is, Brett, what the hell's going on here, right? The ES chart looks like this, right? The ES chart looks like this, and the SPY chart looks like this. What's going on? What's the correct answer here? What's the correct level for our supply zone? Well, the first thing you understand here, guys, on the ES chart is if you look at the ES chart and you do this quickly, let's just check this quickly. If you adjust for your dividend, adjust for your data here, right? If you adjust your data here, then it looks just like SPY, right? So this level that's coming from here, if you remove your adjusted for dividend, right, just for contract changes, it's over here, right? So if you adjust your contract change, it's over here. If you don't adjust for it, it's over there. What's the correct answer? They're both correct. They're both supply, right? This is the level here in SPY, and this is the level here in ES. For me on the ES chart, I'm watching a 7,000 ES level because it's the contract adjusted supply, and it's also the 7,000 psychological level supply. So for me, this is an interesting watch. I want you guys to understand though, I wanted you guys to understand why the ES looks different from SPY with that leg of supply here. If you do an adjust for dividend here, on the SPY chart, it doesn't change anything, right? We're still at all-time highs here. So again, this 692 level on SPY is the correlation to ES 7000. So if you want to be smart today, just do this, right? Just write it out, ES 7000, right? This is our leg of supply. And the question is, what do we do at supply? And this is way too big in font. Let's make that a more reasonable size. And that's our big level of supply, right? So today's session, if you see us pump higher, 7,000 supply is your big level. Now, just because it's supply, it doesn't mean we short it, right? We have to see if it actually results in a short. For example, if we see us just push into it and we do what we did on Wednesday session, then don't short it, right? You want to see probably a break below EMAs. If we break below EMAs, you see us break below EMAs or even some sort of a bearish pin bar candle, then look for the short side trade and downside move. So 692 is still on my main watch for shorts. And again, I'm saying this during a Christmas rally. I'm saying it during a Santa rally, during a big upside move. But again, if I'm watching anywhere for shorts, that's the level, right? That's where it is. Likewise, if I'm looking for longs, you know what I'm going to say, right? The level for longs is back down below. 689 is the first level to watch out for. And below 689, I'm watching 685. So again, these are the two long side trades I'm looking for back to demand. And then my short side trade is a 7,000 ES rejection, right? That's all it is today, guys. That's all I have for you guys on the SPY chart, ES chart. Let's move on to QQQ. On the Qs chart, here on Qs, you can see 620, big demand below, 629, big supply above. And let's not confuse ourselves, right? I spoke this morning about the QQQ catch-up, okay? The QQQ catch-up, the tech catch-up looks interesting, right? Because if you look at this market, QQQ is still underneath their all-time highs. You can see we are still about 2% away, a little over 2% away from our all-time highs here in Qs. So is there a catch-up play in the year end? Is there a thesis where Qs should go back to all-time high before year end? There may be, right? And for that reason, you could watch for some QQQ long trades. But here's the issue. I don't want to be longing back in a QQQ supply. My supply zone on Qs is 629. 629 is right here in Qs. You can see how many rejections have come in here, right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 times at the same exact level. So my view is there is a magnet here, right? There's a magnet to this level, right? This is just draw a little magnet, right? There's a little magnet to this level here to 629. And that's where the market probably goes to, right? That's where I expect Qs to go to is to 629. But I don't know if it's going to break this level, okay? This is a big level of supply, and you must be aware of that. So if the market does grind higher today, again, another grind higher on the Santa rally into Friday close, be careful of 629. Don't be a muppet. Don't be longing here at 629 because thinking it's gonna go higher, right? Santa rally, right? Yeah, sure, it's worked a lot recently, but again, the levels are still leveling. Even during the Santa rally, you saw the Monday rejections coming in at 619, 620, right? So again, big leg of supply here. This is where the market's probably headed to. But again, in order for real big upside to come in, you want to see this happen. So today's session here in the Qs, you're looking for this: pull back to demand, break above supply, or even potentially a supply reversion trade, right? But in no world am I longing back at 629 because I think it's going to break out, right? I want to see this break out. If it does break out, you know where we're going to. If 629 breaks, you know where we're going to, right? We're going into these highs over here at 638.50. If this breaks here, we are going to see a very aggressive Friday, Monday, Tuesday rally, right? Year-end rally, the tech catch-up rally back into this leg of supply over here. So my view is if this breaks, you ride the EMAs all the way into the beautiful fairy tale castle, okay, which would be 638 on the QQQ trade, okay? So that would be where I'm expecting the market to go to if we clear this level. But for now, you know where we are. We're still below supply, right? So let's just be aware of that, okay? Catch-up play is still valid, but we have to break supply, okay? Let's move on, guys. let's talk about some other things. Let's talk about the market today. Let's talk about Amazon chart. So look, transparently, right? Today's session, I don't know what kind of value we're going to have, but I'm going to go over things as if there's significant value, as if there's normal value today. So please understand something. My technical analysis is usually right. We usually do well with this. How effective is our technical analysis today on a Friday with no liquidity? God only knows, right? We'll see what happens, right? We don't know, right? We just don't know. So again, take everything I say with a grain of salt. We are usually right. If you guys are here, you probably know that. But again, today's session, it's a low liquidity session. We don't know what's going to happen today. Things move very erratically. But here on the Amazon chart, this is a bullish chart, okay? This is a very bullish chart. The reason why, we have a beautiful break of trend line, and we have a nice move in a supply here above the 233s. I'm looking for longs higher, right? I said this on Wednesday session as well, pre-market during our Christmas Eve session. Again, this is still valid. It didn't do much on Wednesday. We longed it on Tuesday, big upside move. On Friday session today, I'm looking now to see if we can get above this leg of supply. If we can break this area over here, I think this is going to make a move back into 639. So this is my top watch for longs today is Amazon. If we can build above 233, I'm looking for a long side play back into these highs over here at 239. Top watch today, Amazon 233 breakout today going into a Friday session. Okay, Apple. So Apple, I mentioned on Wednesday, I said this explicitly. I said, guys, if you're looking for a name to long, do not long Apple. There are other names to trade long besides Apple. And one of the first things I saw was Apple ripped on Wednesday. You were wrong about it. Apple did rip on Wednesday, but did you see the overall market, right? The overall market went like this, like this. And Apple went like this, right? So even though Apple did technically indeed rip on our Wednesday session, it didn't really rip that much, right? The market moved a lot higher than Apple, right? Look at the SPY chart. Look at the SPY chart on Wednesday's session. That's a rip, right? That's a rip. Apple chart, it was a rip too, but it then gave back most of the gains in the close. And so if you're watching anything today in Apple, I think you still could watch the catch-up play, right? The catch-up play would be back above 276 though. So my main watch is going to be, can we break above this trend line? Because here's the thing, right? Saying there's a tech catch-up in the market is one thing, right? Anybody can say, let's watch the tech catch-up, right? Let's watch the tech catch-up. But the question is where and why, right? Just because you have the idea of a tech catch-up, it doesn't mean it's going to happen, and you don't know when it's going to happen unless it's happening, right? And so where, in my view, would a tech catch-up be valid on Apple? In my view, it's a break of this 1 hour to 15-minute trend line, right? If we can break above 276, that, in my opinion, is where things become interesting for this tech catch-up. And this is what I'm watching. I'm watching for a break and hold above 276 because if we do, I'm looking for upside move back into 280. It's a very simple chart here, guys. Nice trend line, a rejection high here at 276, 276, 276, 276. Do you guys remember how important 276 was? I remember for a long time we were talking about the head and shoulders on on Apple chart. We were saying, guys, this is the head and shoulders in Apple, right? Big head and shoulders. If we break 276, we're going to see a move back into 267, right? Remember we said this? We said left shoulder, head, right shoulder, right? And we just rejected supply so many times. And we said either watch 280 break or 276 downside. We broke 276 and the downside move happened, right? We saw a pretty aggressive move back all the way into our short side target, right? But then now we're back at 276, the same level that was so important just 2 weeks ago. If we can break 276 and reclaim it, this is a long side trade back in 280. So keep that in the back burner. This is a very interesting chart. Again, it's Friday. We don't know what's going to happen today, but if you are watching anything, watch the 276 breakout. If it does happen, the tech catch-up appears to be valid. Okay, that's all I'm going to say here on Apple chart. Moving on, guys. Teslita, right? So this was a name that was relatively weak. Like Apple, I also said don't long Tesla. But of course, when I'm wrong, people are very quick to say, Brett, you were a Muppet, right? But when I'm right, people don't say, Brett, you were right about Tesla. Tesla was pretty weak on that Wednesday session. And it was, right? And if you guys go to the pre-market Wednesday, we spoke about this. We said, guys, don't long. I mean, Apple and Tesla are in the same boat. Tesla is the same idea as Apple. It's a relatively weak name. And it was relatively weak, right? You saw the 491 rejection came in, it sold off aggressively. And not only that, right? Not only was this a weak name, it actually broke and retested under 482, right? 482 break, retest, downside move back into 477. So again, Tesla was a weaker name. And today's session, it still continues to be weak. And here's my view, guys, on Tesla, right? My view is that Tesla has given us the most clear range. Tesla, am I going out, guys? Am I freezing in and out? Am I freezing? Let me know. I don't know why it's doing that, I want to make sure that we are having good quality streams. No, we're good? Okay. Also, guys, make sure you're watching me in 1080p. I noticed that some people don't watch me in 1080p. This is very important for all of you guys. Go to the settings icon on the bottom right of your YouTube, right? And you'll see settings. It'll say quality, playback speed timer. Click quality and get rid of auto. Get rid of the auto BS. Just go to 1080p, right? Watch it in 1080p. It'll be much better quality, okay? Guys, all right, so let's move on. On the Tesla chart, you have a no trade zone here. You have a dead zone between this 491 and 482, right? So your dead zone today is here and here. If we can clear above the highs, upside. If you clear below lows, downside, right? And here's the view. Tesla is a weak name. It still is a weak name. It still was weak yesterday's session. But we need to see, does the tech catch-up play impact Tesla? I don't know, right? I would argue, to be honest with you, there is no tech catch-up play because this wouldn't be valid because this is already at all-time highs, right? So that doesn't even make any sense, right? The only thing I'm watching for here on Tesla is going to be, can it break below 491? If it does, upside. Or can it break below 42? If so, then downside, right? So anything in between here is my dead zone. Look, it was weak on Friday, or actually it was weak on Wednesday, right, during our Christmas Eve session. I don't know if this has much juice on it today, but let's see what happens. Either above the 491s for upside or below the 482s for downside. I have no bias here, right? I was bear bias in this on Wednesday. Today's session, I'm just neutral, right? I want to see what happens to our levels and see how it responds to the 491s and 482s, okay? So moving on. Let's move on. My head is big. Yeah, my head is huge, actually. Hold on. Let me fix that. Yeah. All right. Better. Okay. So that's Tesla's chart. Moving on. Nvidia. So Nvidia actually gapping up this morning. A little bit of a gapper this morning, and we were gapping up into a very big level, 190. And this is the thing: if you are watching the tech rally, and again, don't blame me if this doesn't work out, right? But if you are watching the tech rebound, right? This is probably the biggest thing to watch, right? Apple and Nvidia are the two to watch. And you are right back at the level here on Apple, or Nvidia rather, okay? Nvidia 190. If 190 breaks on Nvidia, you know what's going to happen here, right? You know if 190 breaks on Nvidia, you know where we're going. We're going into 200, right? We're going into 199 and change. Not 200, but 199, right? That's where we're headed to. So again, above the 190s, if this starts to build today, and you see this, if you see this up, even myself, I will look for longs here, right? This is a long side trade. If we can break above this leg of supply right there, we're at right now pre-market. If we break this band over here, this green band, we're going into 199, right? So again, this is a weaker chart, a very weak chart recently, and it's broken downtrend. Can this break of downtrend result in any substance higher? Let's look to see if this can reclaim 190. If it can, upside move. Do not long Nvidia though on a gap up in the supply. Let's be real for a second. This is a gap up in the supply this morning. We need to see 190 build. If 190 can build, if it can break like this, a little bit of a break and start to pull back and begin retesting here, then that's your upside move. And you get the substance move back into 199. Okay, so 190 break on Nvidia, that's bullish. But as of right now, it's a gap up in the supply. So let's see what happens here. AMD. What's going on with AMD? AMD is the ugly is the ugly brother, right? The ugly cousin, the ugly brother, whatever you want to call it. What's going on here at AMD? AMD is not showing any life recently. Why is AMD not showing life? By the way, Sebi, can you go over SPMO and MU? Yes. And thank you for the $2, Sebi. I'll throw that to the giveaway. Okay. So AMD is not even close to any trend line, right? There's no trend line here. It's just a weaker name. And if you try to create ideas here, it's nothing, right? I mean, look, Nvidia is actually showing strength. AMD is still lagging behind the market. So transparently, if you want to see a nice move on AMD, you probably want to see it back above 225, right? That's where the big area is on AMD. That's where the colossal zone is here. You can see that's where the big level is, right here at 225. So I know it's far away. We're at 215, 216 right now. But if this can get back above 225 by Monday, Tuesday, then you could see that big little tech rally into year end, right? By Tuesday session. So keep that in mind. Obviously, I know it's far-fetched. This is probably the most far-fetched thing I've said so far. Far-fetched ideas are not really good ideas because this just is very unlikely to happen. But if 225 does break, that's a bullish move. Likewise, though, if you completely flip this idea, where is a short today here in AMD? Well, the short is only valid below 212.50, right? So if you are watching for shorts at AMD, you could flip this whole idea and go short under 212.50 for a downside move. So that's your downside move trade, right? I don't plan to trade AMD in between here and here. I have no conviction here. I have no bias here. But under 212.50, I'm shorting this. I will short this today under 212.50. If this breaks this level right here, I'm shorting it. I'm looking for a move back into there. That's my mindset today. If it somehow breaks 225, I'm logging this on EMAs and looking for a move higher. But in between here and here is a DZ. It's a dead zone. Okay, that's what it is today. Okay, graveyard zone, dead zone, whatever you want to call it. That's your area you don't want to be involved in. Okay, moving on. SPMO. SPMO for SEBI. SPMO is basically just SPY, man. Right? This is an Invesco SPY momentum ETF. I don't go over derivative ETFs, right? Because this is just a derivative ETF. It's just the same thing as SPY, right? So my view on this chart is it tracks SPY. So everything I said on SPY would be redundant on this, if that makes sense. But MU, I'm happy to go over. MU, bullish as hell, right? So this is extremely bullish. We need a pullback long though. So this is a very bullish chart. The 260 broke out. Remember we spoke about this 260 break, right? This is a very big break, and so far it's been bullish and extended higher. This big extension move at some point, this big extension move higher, at some point is going to result in a pullback long to 260. I know this. I know it's going to happen at some point. This will at some point pull back to this green band over here. This green band pullback is your long side trade. So for me, all I would do in a chart like this is set an alert here at 262, add alert, and if it pulls back there, that's my long side trade. Guys, that is it for me today. Look, I can't go over everything, right? Obviously, I'm only one person. I can only go over so much. That's all it is. That's all we have for today's session. It's Friday. We're going into a nice weekend, right? I'm sure we all had some good time off this week. It's been very nice, but we don't know how liquid today's sessions is going to be. Let's be mindful of that. Let's go in today with little expectations, and let's see if we can get a trade. If not, that's fine. We'll come back in Monday morning stronger, okay? I'll see you all for live trading. Have a happy and safe trading session. If you don't trade today, have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you on Monday. It's gonna be an insane 2026 for us. So let's go into Monday session with the right mindset. Okay. See you all for live trading. Have a good trading session. Bye, guys.